What is up, YouTube? That's it here. We are back playing more Pokemon Scarlet and Violet VGC team fixing. This team is made by Braden. You can check it out right here on the official team submission post. There's a link to this Patreon post in the description if you still want to submit your team on Patreon for fixing. Braden says this is their first year of VGC. This is a Tailwind team. They're willing to swap any Mom besides Arcanine, and they've used it as a Trick Room team against Murkrow Hydreigons on occasion. So pretty cool team. They're 62-62, so they have about a 50% win rate, and realistically, you shouldn't be shooting for more than like a 70% win rate. There is no team that just automatically wins every single matchup, so they're almost there. They say they'd write more, but they're not the best at explaining things since they're new to VGC and they don't have the best knowledge on Mon pairing. If you actually take a look at their team on their team type chart, there's a good balance of offensive and defensive synergy here. If we take a look at the team as well over here, we can see some of these EVs, some of these movesets do need a little bit of work. This is one of my Garchomp spreads, this is one of my Arcanine set, but the T-Tar definitely needs work. The Gardevoir is another one of mine. The Corviknight definitely needs work, and I'm sure some of you guys can tell the Amoonguss needs a lot of work as well. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be keeping these 6, and then we're going to be fine-tuning exactly the items, the EVs, and the moves that each of the Amoonguss, Corviknight, and I would say the T-Tar and to a little extent Garchomp need to be changed to make this team shine just a little bit more for ranked VGC battles. Again, the rental code right here. You guys can play this game and, go along with the same changes as I'm making them. But let me know, do you guys like these team fixing little videos? If you guys don't like these and you just want to see me use random teams, let me know. I want to make the content that you guys want to watch. If you don't like this stuff, you don't like me playing with other people's teams and showing how they could be fixed, I'd like to know those sort of things. So other than that, we're going to start this off and get right into some games. Wish me luck. Here we go. The number one thing about this team is it has a lot of mons that I've featured, but they don't really all work the same way. One thing that's worth mentioning here is the Tyranitar. Tyranitar comes in, sets the Sandstream, and you just can't pair these two Pokemon. There's no situation where you can ever use Tyranitar and Gardevoir. That's why normally when you see me still want to use an Imprisonmon, I use something like Mischievous or something else that gets Imprisoned Trick Room that wouldn't normally be holding a Sash. That's not really going to come into play here, but that's just one of the things we're going to be able to tighten up. Also, like the Amoonguss with Leftovers as opposed to Black Sludge. Having Black Sludge here could make it so we could use Leftovers on something else like this T-Tar. But let's see, what do we really want to do here? I would say another thing worth noting about this team is that it's very similar to the Sand team that I made. You basically switch out the Corviknight for Murkrow and, maybe change one other of the Mons, and it's exactly the same as what I was using. And it just basically means that it's the same team, but functions at less priority when it comes to use as Tailwind. So it's good and bad, but it is a lot more reactive. If they had Dynamic Speed Control, this would be a lot harder to use. I think we can still get away with leading Corviknight. I think Corviknight could still be a good mon, it's really hard to use a Corviknight against Skeledirge. So we need to pair Corviknight with something that can beat Skeledirge. That's going to be Garchomp. So Garchomp, Corviknight's still going to be solid here. I think that T-Tar could still be a good Pokemon in this matchup if you use it perfectly. And then I'm going to last but not least bring Amoonguss in the back right before we run out of time. So the cool thing about the Garchomp here is it pins Glimmora, it pins Skeledirge. It's not that great versus Espathra, but we have the right mons to be able to pivot in. Like Corviknight, for example, is a good mon versus Espathra, so we're in a good spot here. I think the core 6 that this team bring to the table, again, let's look at their type chart. They're amazing. They're amazing. This is good defensive and offensive coverage. We see the Glimmora and the Baxcalibur starting things off. So again, that looks like EQ City to me. We could even go for, I think what we're actually going to do is Tailwind and EQ, maybe lose the Garchomp on the first turn, and then repin with T-Tar. The thing about T-Tar that's definitely worth noting in this situation, though, is that it has a speed-reduced nature while still having 31 IVs in speed. You'd either want to go all in to be 0 speed reduced, or just go maybe some speed investment. You see we're wasting points in attack, you can put those in speed as well. So let's see, Glimmora and Baxcalibur. I'll definitely just be EQ in here. I don't think we need to do the double dip. EQ is completely fine, and just go for a raw Tailwind. I also think that realistically, Protect, Roost are great if you have Leftovers. If you don't have Leftovers, there's no real reason to have Protect on this sort of set. I'm also not that big of a fan. Ice Shard's great. It's great, but this Garchomp set's actually made to outlive it, so they're copying one of my Garchomp sets, and it's actually made to live this calc in pretty much every single situation, so that's great. But also, what's one thing that would normally beat Garchomp? Things like Sylveon, things like Gargarnacle in some situations. That's one of the reasons why we have Iron Head instead of Brave Bird on Corviknight. Recheck those fairies and other rock types. Power Jump's absolutely fine. Corviknight can take that out. Real easy peasy lemon squeezy. And there's the Tailwind. So this is going to be a weird scenario where that Glimmora is going to be problematic for the remainder of the set. That Baxcalibur super bulky. But you saw if we had Iron Head, we would be in a really, really good spot here. We have T-Tar and Amoonguss in the back. We're going to switch in the Amoonguss. Switching this in is going to be able to take away the toxic spikes. And it also, I mean, we take damage from... do we want to switch in the T-Tar? I really don't want T-Tar poisoned. I'll switch in here, take away the toxic spikes for now. And I guess we Brave Bird the Glimmer, and then it's going to reset the toxic spikes. That sucks, but... see, this is where Iron Head would be absolutely amazing if we had it. Maybe I'll just go for a Roost and play like super, super passive, and then next turn I'll go for like a Protect Bait, and then switch things back out. Maybe we'll get like an Effect Spore proc if they want to do something a little bit different. But I would love Iron Head here. It'd be so amazing. So remember, whenever you switch in a Poison Mon that's grounded, yeah, you don't want to take the bait in the Glimmer. I also just want to say that you do not need to take the bait in the Glimmer that turn. You are completely ignoring it no matter what. But whenever you switch in a Mon that is a Poison type, you get rid of the toxic spikes. So right now, we're probably going to be in a situation where we want to go after the Glimmer slot with the Amoonguss. And let's see. I could also Protect Bait the Amoonguss and Brave Bird the Baxcalibur. I don't really have a problem with that. I'll do that for a turn. Get a take of lefties. And again, Iron Head would be absolutely amazing here, but we don't have it. So let's see what they actually do here. There's no reason to go after that Glimmer right now. Like, absolutely none. I do not see a reason to really go after it. We're going to see what they're tearing into. I want to see if they double dip and go Big Ice. Or if they're going to change completely. Big Ice. This is one of the first times I've ever seen anyone go huge Ice Terra. I think that they're choiced, but let's see what happens. They really want this this Amoonguss off the board, and I don't want to give it to him. Ice Shard. Yep. Perfect. So they're going big on that Terra early. Yeah, Corviknight's in a good spot here. Alright. We might have to Flying Terra. I don't want to, though. Power Gem into the slot. Yeah, I don't want to Flying Terra. Like, we lose our Steel type and we just take way too much damage. They can go into both these slots. And let's see. I could pivot in the T-Tar and go after the Baxcalibur and get it off the board. And Baxcalibur would tick up from the sand. And that way we get to keep our Amoonguss alive for just a little bit longer. I wish we had Regenerator on this set. Judging by how it's been played. Switching the T-Tar, soak the damage from the Ice Shard, and go for a Brave Bird into that slot over there. Hopefully they don't double into my Corviknight, but I think that we're okay here. What do you guys think? Big T-Tar energy. Let's go. The man with the sand. And we don't want to tear our Corviknight if we can help it. That Ice Shard looks so sick. Like the ice animation. It's a good amount of damage. T-Tar is really bulky. Brave Bird should be able to get this guy low enough to be able to tick out or just get the KO. That's a little bit of high roll compared to the last turn. Cool. That's their Terra down there, so that's their Baxcalibur down. That was their check to our Garchomp. Like, we can realistically just come out with Garchomp and roll these guys over now. We're going to want to reapply Tailwind in a couple turns. They're going to go for a Power Gem here. It's absolutely fine if they get the KO here. They don't. Cool. Tailwind peters out, so next turn we're going to protect Corviknight. Probably just go for a Rock Slide. Get those rocks, it's a Toxic Spike setback on us, and then we're going to switch back out the Amoonguss. So we'll see. We also haven't Terra'd yet. This Pathra. Cool, that's great. So they've already Terra'd. It's a shiny. Those things look so cool shiny. And we have Thunderbolt here on this set too. That's very unique. What's our EV spread on this T-Tar again? I'll check one more time. Some special attack investment. It's unique. Rock Slide is probably fine. We don't have a Dark Attack, which I think is kinda not great. I wish I had a Dark Attack on this guy. We have Earthquake here too. It's fine. Just get a double KO. This is fine. Yeah, this is standard damage. We can't flinch anything. We don't want to miss. And we just want to make the game last just a little bit longer. They can't break the T-Tar this turn, so we're okay. This is also a situation where I actually really like Thunder Wave instead of Thunderbolt. I'm not a big Thunderbolt guy on T-Tar. It's good for Gyarados, but Gyarados is not like a threatening mon in the meta. If you go take a look at some, if you take a look at usage stats, Gyarados is probably like not even top 50. Yeah, we are thick out here. EQ, baby. So what we want to do is set a situation here where we're going to get the KO there. We're going to pivot out the Corviknight for the Amoonguss, get rid of the Toxic Spikes, and then we're going to have like a 4v1, basically. Or 4v2. You know, Toxic Debris is fine. Next turn, we can protect the T-Tar. The fact they sent this thing out instead of something else means I don't know if they have a good check for the T-Tar. And we just did good damage to this Pathra. Like, if I had, like, a Crunch, I would have went for it there. Lefties. Okay. And they should be showing Speed Boost, right? There it is. Cool. So they're going to be Speedy Gonzalez out here. We can actually still catch it in time with the Amoonguss if we had the Skeletors. Cool. Garchomp's great here. If we can get this Pathra off the board. We kind of have to do... Oh, Electric Terra, that's so weird. Yeah, I don't see a single reason for that. It also makes it so you take Rock Terra typing, like Rock Terra... So in this situation, Terra Blast would be better, because if you're, first of all, you're stronger physical, it's just better, right? And it goes to be either a physical or special attack depending on how strong you are. It's always better to be Terra Blast in that situation, I would say. This is one of those really not great situations. We have to Rock Slide, and I'm not a big fan of it. And we got to switch in the Amoonguss to get rid of the Toxic Spikes, I think. I'm not a big fan of this situation for us, but we'll see how it goes. Yo, someone's dropping a follow. This is the same overlay I use when I'm streaming, so someone looks like they came from the YouTube channel and dropped a follow. You guys can drop a follow on YouTube too, or check out Twitch, link to it in the description. The second time we took up those spikes, protect Skeleturge, absolutely fine. Now let's see what they're even doing here. Dazzling Gleam would be great. Yeah, it means they just don't have that many options for Corviknight, and then next turn they're going to go into the Amoonguss slot. You could already see how much more value we'd have gotten if this was a Regenerator Amoonguss. It's also good that our Citrus Berry activates in this situation. I like this a lot. So let's go. Rock Slide, we have to hit this Pokemon, otherwise he's going to get... This Patho's going to get kind of out of control. Great, cool. And so next turn we're going to go Protect EQ, just because at this point we can actually afford to just do a little bit of damage. And then what we're going to try and do is mitigate the leftovers on the Espathro with our T-Tar Sandstorm. So we might even have to like fodder the T-Tar, switch it out to Corviknight, fodder the Corviknight, reaping out the T-Tar to activate Sandstorm, just so we can consistently keep that Espathro at the HP stats we want it to be in. We could probably still get away with like Rock Slide here. It's enough damage. It's so much more damage versus the Skeleturge. We might outspeed. It's definitely possible if they're like a 0-speed one. I'm not seeing the value in this thing's Electric Terra, because like you would also take Sandstorm damage. I really don't think the EQ is very valuable here either. We'll go for the Rock Slide. I think you actually need all the damage you can get in this situation. I don't remember if I protect the last turn. I think I switched in last turn, didn't I? We'll protect this turn. We also have Poison Terra. I think that you'd be better off with Dark Terra to be able to block Psychic attacks. Yeah, they protect you. That's a good play. I wonder if they have Wisp on the Skeleturge. Yeah, so next turn we'll fodder Corviknight probably. Or even think about switching in Garchomp. Yeah, Amoonguss is cool, but oh man, they went for the hard read, bro. That really sucks. A Spit Up Drop would be bad here. And they are faster than we are. Oh, what a good play from our opponent. Good damage here, though. Yeah, it's great damage. So the situation at hand is we're going to have 3 Mons that are all really low. They can Earth Power our T-Tar slot and go after our Amoonguss with probably a Lumina Crash, and there's nothing we can really do about it. We could let the T-Tar go down. See, like, I'm trying to create a situation where we could go Garchomp and make them have to go for a Dazzling Gleam, and that would KO the Garchomp, but it wouldn't KO the other Mon involved. I think T-Tar's the right play here. And if that's the other thing about Electric Terra is that I still have these weaknesses. So if I were to Rage Powder here too, I'm super boned. Last turn Sandstorm. I think we fodder here into Corviknight. And I think we can hope Amoonguss lives the Lumina Crash, but I really highly doubt it. If you Spore that slot, you win. I'll see what happens. I will say I'm not really feeling this situation, though. Protect there. Okay, cool. Wonder why they did that. They're probably ignoring the T-Tar this turn and Lumina Crashing our Amoonguss, which is probably okay. Yep, we got it. Awesome. So that's the value of the full HP Spadef build that we are using, which is a good build. It's just not as good on an Effect Spore set. You can see our EVs over here. It's a 252 like special D set, so like we can't eat those. And the Espathro's made a little bit bulky, so that's how we knew we weren't going to get KO'd in that situation. They can KO either of these Mons. We would have been switching this guy out over and over and over again if we knew that we had Regenerator, but we have Effect Spore. So in this situation, I think it's probably just the right idea to like go all in and just probably Rage Powder and Brave Bird into the Espathra. And that way we set up a board that's like Garchomp and T-Tar to try and win the game before they can even do anything. I almost even want to go for like a Terra and make sure that we get this thing off the board while it's sleeping, because it has to be asleep this turn. We don't even have Rage Powder. Bruh. Hey, you know, you gotta have Rage Powder, bro. Gotta have the Rage Powder. Yeah, so that's another thing that we need to be fixing if you're using Amoonguss. Rage Powder is really, really important. Redirection is the main reason you use these guys. Brave Bird's going to do a lot of damage here. Almost gets the KO. Now, they can totally, like, wake up and do a lot of cool stuff. And they're going to be able to KO the Amoonguss here. Like, this is another situation where I would have went for the Terra Flying and gotten that KO if we had Rage Powder, because we didn't know if we were faster than the Skeletons. Like, this is a very bad spot to be in if they get like a one-turn sleep. Like, if they roll a one-turn sleep on us, we probably lose. And we wouldn't have lost if we had Rage Powder. We wouldn't have lost if we had Regenerator. We wouldn't have lost if we would have had a couple different EV spreads and a couple of move choices. We wouldn't have lost if we would have had Iron Head. So hopefully you can understand the small changes that I've been talking about that we're going to be making at the end. Like, we still have a great chance to win here. But, we're going to have to Terra this Garchomp, I think. Because we still haven't Terra'd. We're going to Terra the Garchomp to make it so we don't take as much damage from the Dazzling Gleam. No reason to Terra the T-Tar. It would still take a crap ton of damage. I mean, I guess we could Terra T-Tar, but it doesn't get us anything. T-Tar's not dying to Dazzling Gleam anyways. Garchomp's the one that would die. So we're going to Rock Slide. And, either you got the KO or you don't, buddy. You got the one-turn sleep. Are we never lucky? We're going to find out. We have to go into the Terra animation first. This is all we got. They outspeed us with the, and also, like, T-Tar has a Sped Def boost right now because it's Rock. If it was Rock Terra, like, I probably would go for the Terra on T-Tar as well to make it so, you know, we just keep our Rock and do more damage. But let's see if they get the one-turn sleep. They protect the Skeleturge. Cool. If the Espather wakes up, we lose. And we lose. That's game, probably. Yep, that's game. So, hopefully you can understand, like, the limitations we're playing with. We have no Rage Powder Amoonguss. We got a one-turn sleep. We have no Iron Head Corviknight. We have, like, no actual, like, way to win the game. We have absolutely no way to, like, have pressure. We have, like, almost no speed control that can actually give us anything other than Tailwind and Corviknight. We have no Thunderwave T-Tar. We have useless Terras on most of our Mons. And it's unfortunate. It is unfortunate. There's no reason to, like, try and do anything else here. Earthquake won't miss, but they outspeed us. That's an unfortunate loss. That's an unfortunate loss. Like, there's so many different things. It's just frustrating having to play teams that, like, I shouldn't get frustrated. I shouldn't get frustrated, but, like, because this is why we need to fix them. But hopefully you guys can understand, like, all the changes. I'm going to review them again, and we'll talk about it in just a minute. The Amoonguss needs a redirection. There's no reason to have Polypuff in this format. There's no reason to have Giga Drain in this format. If anything, you'd be wanting Clear Smog in these formats to deal with Dondozo. Arcanine is a copy of a set that I use that's a little bit worse because you have Wild Charge over something else that you might need in a couple other situations. That's it's okay in this format. Corviknight definitely needs to be completely overhauled. There's no reason to Protect on a set that can't restore health other than Roost, which also doesn't really need to be on a Corviknight set in this format. EV Spread's also okay, but you're not really speed creeping enough. This doesn't outspeed anything in Tailwind. We'll fix that in a little bit. Gardevoir can't be used in this team because you have a T-Tar that breaks your own Sash, and while Imprison Trick Room users are good, there's definitely better Trick Room users that you can pair with this team. Garchomp is a copy of a set that I've used. It's still good, but you want to be at 172 speed. T-Tar is absolute. There's no reason to ever be Thunderbolt here. It just doesn't get anything. First of all, you're wasting points in special attack. You could be using Terra Blast to be Terra Electric if you really wanted to be Terra Electric, and while it's cool, it keeps a lot of the same weaknesses. You lose your Sandstorm boost, you start taking damage from Sandstorm, and it's just, it's not it. It's wasting points in attack. It's really, really hard to get wins with something like this. So we're going to go another one. I'll try and be less salty, but the team is so close, yet so far. Okay. Hail team with Glaceon. We used Glaceon recently. I think another thing about this team is there's like no fake out pressure or even the attempt at fake out pressure. So your opponent can just do whatever they want. We also don't really have the right Mons with the right speed tiers to be able to be a bully. So like they could lead with the Masquerain, which has like a base 80 speed. And like we cannot stop them from getting up Trick Room unless we wanted to lead like Arcanine Garchomp and go like Rock Slide E speed, which would lose to like all the other Mons. We'd lose the fake out on the Tinkaton. We'd lose to like a switch in. Like, you need to have multiple Mons that have high speed control, and that's where something like Corviknight being a Murkrow made that Murkrow variant actually work, because we could make our other Mons trade Tailwinds correctly. With this case, though, like, if Corviknight tries to trade Tailwinds, and they were to go like Masquerain and Hail, they could just freeze us with a Blizzard. They go with a faster Tailwind, they get a faster Blizzard, and they could just freeze our Corviknight and we lose. And the fact we have to play that reactive is probably one of the reasons why you end up losing in the late game in those situations. Let's see, that we don't need Trick Room. We still want the T-Tar. We won't bring T-Tar on the back. We gotta go Corviknight Garchomp again. It's the best lead that we have. You don't really want to go Arcanine here because there's 2 ghosts. Definitely go T-Tar. I think Amoonguss is almost good. Yeah, we will just go the Arcanine. Amoonguss doesn't have Rage Powder. It's like literally unusable. It's literally unusable without Rage Powder. Like that's the only reason that like Amoonguss is used as a Pokemon, in my opinion. Yes, it has Spore, but it's the effectiveness of having Spore while being able to force Protect and Redirection that make Amoonguss good. That's like running a Murkrow without Tailwind. The pressure of getting a speed control or the pressure of having something really good is what makes it good. So this Fake Out Blizzard, it's kind of like what I just said. That like if they just go for the Fake Out in one of our Mons, we just kind of get busted. I think we can pivot out for. We're gonna pivot in the T-Tar and probably just set Tailwind in this situation. We're gonna try and set Tailwind and see how it works. This is another situation where Iron Head would obviously be just a little bit better. So try and get that Tailwind up. Try and pivot in the T-Tar. They can check the Garchomp that's turning into a T-Tar with a Gigaton Hammer, but we can always pivot in. Not Bombus, no, Arcanine in this situation as well. You don't want to switch an Arcanine this turn, though. You don't want to do it this turn, because you want to be able to take away their Aurora Veil. Fake out in the Garchomp slot, it's absolutely fine. I want to stop Aurora Veil. We storm into that slot, absolutely fine. Yep, totally okay. Totally okay. We just want to get rid of the, we just want to set the stand. Awesome. So they're going to have to switch that out, which means we have free turns to do basically whatever we want. I think that we might go for, this is where I personally like U-turn on my Corviknight. Oh, their Eject Pack. Very, very cool. So if we actually would have switched an Arcanine, we would have just been able to get the Intimidate and force it out. That would have been awesome. But it's also better to not have just raw Arcanine on the board like that. So we want to see what they're bringing in. We want to see if they have Pult back there. Another thing about T-Tar is like you need dark coverage. Like, do you see that gold angle? Like EQ's not really cutting it in my opinion. We're going to show you a really cool Corviknight set at the end that can do a lot of cool stuff here. So yeah, there's nothing we can really do with this Corviknight here, like at all. I think I'm just going to... It's so frustrating that we can't do like anything. There's no reason to Brave Bird. I mean, I guess we'll double Brave Bird into the this because we want to EQ as well, but like that's still not great. And if there's Scarf Goldango, they still have speed. I also don't really like Brave Bird because it takes your health. It's not that much strong. We don't really have investment on the Corviknight. It doesn't really get us anything. They outspeed our T-Tar in a Tailwind. That's terrible. So T-Tar's going to go down this turn, but it's going to open up a spot for us to bring in Garchomp, which is what we want. Cool. Does not matter at all. Make It Rain's absolutely fine. Alright, so this is a fodder of the T-Tar. We know they have a Abomasnow, and the thing is, like, we're going to bring out the Garchomp, we're going to go for, hopefully, double K with the EQ, and then we're going to try and repin with Arcanine. Or Goldango, so that means it can protect. And we're actually going to Roost with Corviknight here. We can get away with roosting in this situation, in my opinion. The Roost would also make it so we have our Flying typing active right now when we Earthquake. We soak that, and then we Roost after. So if they're going to be protecting or playing passive, you also need to be PP maxing these Roosts if you're going to be using Roost at all. We don't need to double dip the Terra yet either, in case we need a Terra Arcanine. So they're pivoting that out. That could be pivoting for a Abomasnow, which shouldn't be able to switch in on this very well. Shouldn't be able to switch on it very well. We could have also just went for like Brave Bird in that slot, but we can like still go for Brave Bird in that slot next turn. We just need to get the Tinkaton off the board. See what they bring out next. Awesome, it's gonna be great damage there. Yep, there's no reason to go for the Brave Bird in that situation. You want to get the, you want to heal up because you can still just Brave Bird in that situation. But also, you could also Iron Head in that situation if you still had it. I probably would have Iron Headed in this situation. It's just that we're taking a lot of recoil from Brave Bird. I don't want to take that much more if I don't have to. Let me check our Corviknight one more sec. Do we have Mirror Armor, right? We do have your Mirror Armor. Yeah, again, I shouldn't get so frustrated playing these sort of teams. It's just that they're so close. They're so close. And it's going to be Glaceon. Cool. So there's no more T-Tar, but like this is where we would have been in a really, really good spot going with, we're just going to Brave Bird into the Abomasnow. Hopefully it gets the KO, and we're going to repivot with Arcanine here. And now that we know they don't have Dragapult, like we're fine. So we can just lock our Garchomp into Rock Slide a little bit later and win the game basically. They have a Goldango in the back, but that's fine. We're just probably going to lock ourselves into Flare Blitz. Hopefully KO the Abomasnow. That'd be great. That'd be really cool. Never lucky. That's going to hurt. That's going to hurt. Double Freeze. Aurora Veil. There's the Veil. Yeah, oh man, good play. So we tried to stop that earlier when we switched in the T-Tar. We knew they had it. And one Blizzard, right? That's fine. So we still should outspeed these guys. Tailwind Peter's out. I think we should still outspeed the Abomasnow, but I'm not that afraid of it even if we don't. Brave Bird here. Foil Blitz here. We don't need to E-Speed. We're Choice Banded. All their mons weak to fire. Cool. Are you Terra Watering? That would basically lose me the game, I think. Good play. I like that. We'll see how close we get to losing this one. That's an amazing Terra there. Cool. It's actually better for us so they don't get the KO. Because Gholdengo, if they send out a Gholdengo right here, we'd be really pinned. It's still a good amount of damage, I think. Is that a crit? That's just how much that does. Wow. Yeah, because they have an Aurora Veil up right now, too. So that's the thing. It's like, it's not like Garchomp could just come in and EQ Terra out. I mean, that's probably what we're going to have to do. But they're going to get that guy off the board. They're going to get the Arcanine off the board, sorry. And then we're going to be fine. Yeah, that's totally okay. We're going to have to double into the Glaceon with a double dip Ground Terra. And I hope that that's not like a Citrus on the Glace. Or, yeah, I hope it's not Citrus. It's obviously something like... Oh, and they have the... No, they're not Water type anymore. Sorry, they're not Ice type anymore, right? So they lose their defense boost. That's why that Foil Blitz hit so much. So yeah, we just go Brave Bird into here. And we just double click that EQ, baby. We're going to finish off the Abomasnow. And then we just got to not die on the Glaceon. We got to hopefully get the KO on the Glaceon. Double dipping this is going to be a lot. We're a full attack Garchomp. And we should do about 10 to 15% of the Glaceon with the Brave Bird. If Foil Blitz resisted did that much, I think we can do about 10 to 15%. So EQ should be able to take out Abomasnow even though it's resisted. Even though there's an Aurora Veil up. Maybe not. We'll see. Double dip. Alright, cool. That didn't do shit to the Glaceon, though. So Blizzard's probably going to KO us then. Well, maybe not. We're not fourth weak to it anymore. We'll see how bulky they are. Let's see the Pinch Berry. No Pinch Berry. Blizzard double hits in the sand. And that... Ooh, 9 HP. So, oh, man. We're going to barely win this one, I think. Hey, they played really, really well with that Water Terra, I think. They played really, really well with it. And we should be able to KO this and Gholdengo. But very, very close game. I want to talk a little bit about, like, my Garchomp set. This is a Garchomp set from one of my videos, and so it's a great set. It's just super, super bulky. Those extra EVs in HP and special defense really help a lot and really keep Garchomp out of the range of what a lot of people think Garchomp should be able to take. The only way they get out of this is they're like a quick attack or something weird, but I don't think they do. EQ, baby, let's go. Let's go. EQ till the cows come home. Yeet, delete. I love the Terra Water Glaceon. That's some sick stuff. And we'll take it. Very, very close one. Very, very close game there. You can kind of see, though, how like Corviknight is just so reactive. It's slow. It's enabling slow teammates that are still slower after the Tailwind. It definitely needs to be tweaked. The T-Tar needs to be tweaked. Like, hopefully these games, what they're doing is showing that like things like the Garchomp work great. Things like the Arcanine work great. But the Amoonguss, the Corviknight, and the Tyranitar are the weak links in the team that are holding it back from being able to actually dictate play as opposed to being like too reactive. So what we're gonna do now is go take a look at all this stuff and fix all the things that I said we should be fixing. So let's hop into that. All right, so once again, here is the rental. I think the Arcanine's good, Garchomp's good. Guard can definitely be switched out or upgraded or maybe even changed to a different mon, or even at the very least, like I don't know how effective like Gardevoir with Imprison Trick Room is. You know, the videos that I've made with that team have gotten like a couple 100,000 views by now. So it's pretty well known that you lead the Gardevoir and you have Telepathy and Imprison Trick Room. There's better mons that you can use to do that in this format, in my opinion. Corviknight, though, T-Tar, and Amoonguss definitely need a little bit of work. We're going to take a look at the type chart one time, or a little bit, just to see like what things need to be fixed. I really like about this team is that, like, you know, 2 weaknesses of fire on Amoonguss Corviknight, resisted by things like, you know, Arcanine, Garchomp, and Tyranitar. You know, most types have like 2 weaknesses of steel on things like Gardevoir and Tyranitar, resistances on like Corviknight and Arcanine. Like there's enough resistances to back up for the fact that we have some weaknesses and nothing's really going too out of our control. Let's see, we need to go into the team builder here, and what we're going to be doing is taking some of the moves and the items and moving them around. This is the fixing part. One thing is for sure, whenever you're a poison type, you always want to be holding a Black Sludge if you're going to be having this like defensive item like a Leftovers, because since you can only have the item clause, since you can only hold one item, you don't necessarily need to have your Leftovers be wasted on that slot. If anything, you want the Leftovers on something like Tyranitar, which we'll put a little bit later. But Black Sludge is going to be good here. I think on this set, with how this team should be playing Amoonguss, you want to come in, soak a little bit of damage, redirect a little bit. You want Regenerator here. Effect Spore is really, really good on sets that are built HP defense. because you want to go big into that and soak a lot of physical attacks. This team actually doesn't have a lot of weaknesses to physical attacks. The other things this team is weak against are special attacks. That's another thing we talk about when we're talking about the type chart here. What are these types? What Pokemon are using fire attacks? What are they, physical or special? Same thing goes for water. Same thing goes for, you know, ground, ice, steel, fairy. I would say fairy attacks are predominantly special. Ice attacks like Blizzard are predominantly special and Ice Beam. Water attacks like Hydros are usually special. Fire attacks like Heat Waves and, you know, Armor Cannons are usually special. Versus like, you know, things like fighting, ground attack right here, steel attack. Those are built physical. So for the most part, this team actually has a lot of weaknesses to special attacks. So this is why a special defense Amoonguss is going to be great. We actually don't need to go like full HP, but it doesn't also really matter that much. We definitely don't need to put those last 4 here. You would definitely be putting those last 4 here, and realistically for me, I'd be putting about 20 here and going to a 236, just because like basically you get a little bit of diminishing returns on your defense stat, and you want to be able to maximize that just a little bit. This throws off your opponent's calcs by about 2%. And the thing that you want to do really about Amoonguss is go speed reduced. And you need this to be 0 speed, you know? We see the 0 attack that Showdown does all the time. They do that so you take less damage from things like hitting yourself in confusion and foul plays. Amoonguss doesn't really need that, but what it does need is a speed reduce 0 speed nature, so you can actually underspeed the things you need to underspeed in Trick Room. And realistically, on a set like this, and we talked about using the Black Sludge, but what I would be using is the Iron Ball, because we don't need to even use Gardevoir on this team. We do not need to use it to stop Trick Room. If you put an Iron Ball on your Amoonguss, though, you're going to be able to underspeed Torkoal. So you can just give them Trick Room, bring in this Amoonguss, and spore their Torkoal. Easy. Easy peasy. Lemon squeezy. It's going to work almost every single time. The only way it doesn't work is if you get like Prankster Taunted, which we're going to talk about in a sec, or their Torkoal is also holding an Iron Ball, or their Torkoal tears into grass. The reason why we can stop the Prankster Taunts, though, is because we can go for a Dark Terra here, and this is going to make it so they can't, first of all, hit us with Prankster moves, but they also can't hit us with Psychic attacks. This makes it so your Amoonguss is just a little bit different typing. The things that would be good against Amoonguss, like Psychic attacks, aren't as good when we're a Dark type, right? And the things that are good against like a Dark type, if they expect us to Dark Terra, you know, like fighting attacks and fairy attacks wouldn't work if we just didn't Terra and stayed poison grass. So stuff like that, I think it's just a little bit better set running it like this. And the last thing we need here is you definitely don't need Protect, and you definitely don't need Pollen Puff. Those are older little gems that you would use in other formats, but those don't really work as much in this format. You definitely need that Rage Powder. This is what makes this Pokemon good. Being able to Spore while also forcing them to respect your redirection is the little split that makes this Pokemon good. And last but not least, I would put Clear Smog here. And this is what you have for Dondozo. Like, this is the thing that you use to stop Dondozo. This takes away all the stat boosts. So if you're ever afraid of your opponent setting up Dragon Dances, anything like that, you just Clear Smog it. Easy peasy. Amoonguss is not made to deal damage. It's made to redirect damage, put things to sleep so your teammates can do correct damage. So hopefully that helps. I know I talked a little bit about Wild Charge not being here. You can have Wild Charge here. It's either Wild Charge or Close Combat that go in this spot. It's completely up to you. This is a good EV spread, though. It spreads things around. It's good damage. Let's take a look at Corviknight last, because I think Corviknight's really cool. This T-Tar set needs a ton of work. We definitely want to put the leftovers here. I've talked about T-Tar a lot, and I think T-Tar is best built like this. This is just how I like using T-Tar, and this is what I would be doing this if this was my own team for ranked games. Going with the Rock Tear here. The reason why you want to have the Rock Tear is so you still maintain that special defense boost while you can double dip your Rock Slides if you have to. You don't have to, but you definitely can. And then I like using Thunder Wave here. That's just definitely how I like using Thunder Wave. And I've used a couple different T-Tar sets where I have a couple other different support moves. I like Taunt here on teams that are aggressive to pull it off, so you can just taunt Amoongusses. I don't necessarily think you have to with this team. Taunt's good here, but so is Assurance. Assurance is great, being able to double your power if the target was damage this turn. So if you pair it with like Arcanine, Gardevoir, Garchomp, even Corviknight, you do any damage to them, you double dip and just slam in a huge 160 base power stabbed Assurance. Very, very good move in this situation. Let's change some of our EVs. You don't need to be a speed reduced nature in this format. You definitely actually want a little bit of speed. I'd say about 44. You're going to be speed creeping things by just a bit. You definitely still want the full HP. 72 attack waste points. 68 is the right number, or 76, 72. You see if we take one out by one. Doesn't go down, you know. So I think that you probably want about 100 points in attack to be able to actually make sure your Rock Sledge and Assurance hit as hard as you want them to. We're going to be weaving in leftovers every single turn with your Protect. And then the last thing we don't need this much defense. We don't need any special defense, right? So we are basically just taking a little bit out. And what we actually want to do is we can actually, since this is the number that we need to get to actually deal the correct amount of damage with our Assurance. Like, for example, that number is, I'll show it to you. So if we... Let's plug in a T-Tar. I'll show you the calc here. Tyranitar. So plug in a Tyranitar, set it to 50, and let's give it 100 points here, and go for Assurance. And let's plug in Gholdengo. So if I type it, Gholdengo. I always call it Gholdengo. It's Gholdengo. All right, so plug in Gholdengo. So Assurance, if we do the double damage hit from Assurance, it gets the KO on regular Sweeper Gholdengo like every single time. It also gets the KO on Gholdengo if like they're a full health Gholdengo, and it still gets the KO on Gholdengo. This actually still could get the KO on Gholdengo if we pair it with the right move into a full bulky Gholdengo. So this just lets us check the heck out of a Gholdengo even if we're intimidated. Let's Tyranitar Mega. That's wrong. This T-Tar. I was like, these calcs are all wrong. Yeah, it's not the Intimidate right there. This still gets the KO on the Gholdengo. I was like, I've calced this before. This lets you just KO full HP Gholdengos in every single situation. And if you're intimidated by anything, like let's say they put you intimidated, you compare this with Garchomp, Earthquake your own T-Tar, it's going to do about half, and then that'll put the Gholdengo within range to make sure the Assurance KOs. So in situations where you're intimidated, you can just go EQ. Remember, you're going to do less damage yourself because your Garchomp is also intimidated. You won't kill your T-Tar, and it'll allow you to actually hit the Assurance for the 120 base. So that's one of the reasons why we need to get to 167, but we can also more effectively get to 167 by putting our Nature in that slot and going down. And so 169, we don't need any points at that point. So 167, we're able to save all these EVs. So remember, like, we can just throw the rest of those in here. What I actually think you should do is you should be throwing about 60 points into a SpDef stat or any other defensive stat that's going to throw off your opponent's calcs by about 5%. So for people that are calculating to KO 252 HP, 252 attack T-Tar, throwing 60 points in special defense is going to throw off their attacks that are special attacks like grass attacks, water attacks, earth powers, fairy attacks like Hyper Voice. You're going to throw off those calcs by about 5%. You know, you're just calculating to kill Gholdengo. Well, if we missed it by 5%, you know, we wouldn't get it. So it's really important to throw off your opponent's calcs about 5%, and then you can just throw the last last little bit in here. I think it doesn't waste it. It does. So let's see, where do we want to put that then? This is 148, right? Let's see, what could we do here? Because this isn't wasting it. Yeah. Like in those situations, there's not really that much you can do. Yeah, we throw them up here. Duh, I'm an idiot. Extra points. What extra? I was like, that's not right. Yeah, you just throw them up there because you don't want to waste them. Because if we put 4 in any of these stats, the multiplier wouldn't really be there. Like 64 doesn't get you anything. 60 does. 48 doesn't get you anything. 44 and 52 do. So this is a more accurate way to use Tyranitar in this situation. It's just going to be a little bit better. And so now that we fixed the T-Tar, made it a lot better, we can actually start taking a look at what this Corviknight needs to do to be used in this team. You could keep the Rocky Helmet. It's okay. I think a better item is going to be a Light Clay. And I think this Corviknight set is going to be so much better with a Light Clay. You go Tailwind here, you go Light Screen, you go Reflect. People do not know that Corviknight gets dual screen. So after your Tailwind, or even before doing whatever, put up some screens and then just U-turn out into whatever you need. So get up your screens, bring in your Amoonguss. Get up your screens, bring in your Arcanine. Get up your Tailwind Speed Control, bring in your Garchomp, bring in your T-Tar safely, and just win the game. This is now going to be the point mon that you use to control the rest of your game. If you really want to cut the U-turn, you can, but you would do that for Ironhead. But I like this Corviknight set a lot, and I still think you need a little bit of speed on this guy. So a little bit of speed, just don't want that full HP. In this situation, you still made the right choice by going full defense there, or a defense boosting nature. So we just take the points out of here, which also you're wasting points in that situation too. So we can go 120. I think 8 isn't wasting points now. Yeah, wait, it is. So again, you're wasting the 4 points in that slot anyways. And we put those up there, just like we did the last one. So this set is just gonna be a little bit better. We have the dual screens with the Light Clay. So if their opponent's gonna play passive, now we actually have the tools to play a long game. We Garchomp, Corviknight, we can go with a big EQ, Tailwind, or a screen, and then we can just pivot the Garchomp for T-Tar, U-turn into the Arcanine, have dual screens up ready to go, and then just win the game with like things like Arcanine and T-Tar on the back. Really, really good stuff. The last thing here, I don't necessarily think that the Imprisoned Guard is going to be the right play. I think, realistically, for this team, you have enough tools now that if your opponent's going to be playing Trick Room, you can use the mixture of Amoonguss with its speed drop to be able to underspeed TRs, and also just setting up dual screens correctly to be able to wait out Trick Rooms. I would change this to a Lycanroc. I know I said I wasn't going to change any Mons. You don't have to change any Mons, but like, Lycanroc is a much better option here because you still have your Sash. You want to have the speed, the Sand one. So you have Sand Rush, and again, the set that we use on this guy is the same set basically. You go Protect, you go Endeavor. I like the Endeavor here a lot. And you then go with a Close Combat for the Sand Mirror and Rock Slide. And so another cool thing about this is you can also pair this with Tyranitar a lot better because, you know, the Close combat rock slides and endeavors will let you activate your assurance, which means you can do more damage. This guy still needs to be full speed with a speed boosting nature to outspeed things like Gengar. You actually don't need the last HP in that slot just because you want to be able to endeavor for a lower HP amount if they haven't been hit yet. Now I think this is a bit better way to do it, and I think the Terra type on this guy goes Ghost. I've used this before. This is the changes that I would make. I know I'm changing Amon, but I do think that this team functions like a lot better than the previous version. So hopefully you like the changes. What we're gonna do now is we're actually gonna play a game on Showdown, so I can just show you how the team works. People have been asking for this for a while, saying like, you make all these changes, but you don't play the teams. Well, we're gonna play a game on Showdown, and we're gonna show you the changes I would make live in action. Okay, so we're going to this one. They have a little bit of potential Trick Room with the Indeedee, a little bit of matchup roulette with like the Abomasnow, the Dozo, Tatsugiri. I think that should be fine. I think you have a couple good ways to deal with Dozo by using Lycanroc. I think Lycanroc and T-Tar are actually good mons here because yes, the Abomasnow can take away our sand, but I think we're still fine. You bring out the Garchomp in the back, and then Arcanine's okay. I think Amoonguss is a better bring against a lot of these. You can't redirect Abomasnow, but it is still good. I also really like the Corviknight. I'll bring the Amoonguss. I think Amoonguss is a good mon here. So there's Arboliva and Indeedee. It's a weird board. Because that would set the Psychic Terrain. Don't they want to keep their Psychic Terrain? That's a little bit weird. We can just close combat that thing. I think there's nothing wrong there with Rock Slide Assurance into the Indeedee. As long as we hit our first Rock Slide, right? So the way this is going to work, Rock Slide deals a little bit of damage, and then the fact that they took damage first, it allows our T-Tar to deal double damage with our Assurance and hopefully gets the KO. Just to stop them from using Trick Room. I think Trick Room is a little bit scarier. We missed the Indeedee, which means our Assurance does not work. Never, ever, ever lucky. Yeah, we don't get the KO because of that. We flinched there, that sucks, and there's a Trick Room. So very, 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 very unlucky. Very, very unlucky. But it should be fine. We can just go for a Protect in this situation. We actually want to Protect before we start switching. Just super unlucky. Oh, well. Yeah, we even respected the Trick Room Indeedee, too. There's the Follow Me. That's absolutely fine. Terrain Pulse into T-Tar doesn't get the KO because we thick. Finally, take out the Indeedee. And we're going to be using Grassy Terrain and Leftovers to make ourselves a little bit bulkier. We're going to pivot out the Lycanroc next turn. Yeah, we actually want to pivot out the T-Tar. We actually want to just go for like Rock Slide and then pivot in here, I think. Yeah, we're going to have to take the big damage on the slot, but it's okay. I want to see if they go... Yeah, cool. Strength Step, and that's absolutely fine. Go back up to health. Aurora Veil's completely great. Oh my gosh, we just keep missing these Rock Slides, dude. That is really, really bad. Trick Room's up. We cannot go for Spore against any of these. We cannot redirect any of them, but we can weave in a Protect here. They're running out of turns on Trick Room. We're just going to go for a Clear Smog into the Abomasnow just to break potential Sash. Yep, just to break Sash. That's all we really need to do. Terrain Pulse blocked. Blizzard blocked. Cool. So this is the last, well, blocked on Lycanroc. Last mon that they probably have is going to be the Ceruledge. And so in this situation, since this is their last turn of Trick Room, let's think about what we need to do. If we let both these guys go down and we bring on like Garchomp T-Tar, that's good. I don't think that's a problem with that. We can't use Rage Powder here. I'll just go for a Rock Slide. I could even go for like... I wonder if they're going to double into that slot. Blizzard Terrain Pulse, like they could miss that Blizzard. I could switch in the T-Tar. I'll Rock Slide and switch in T-Tar. This makes the Blizzard not 100% accurate. Pump up into T-Tar doesn't do anything. And we're going to be fine. They missed T-Tar. They missed one Blizzard. And we do double hit the Rock Slide. So now, right now, they do have the... Sorry, they do have the Aurora Veil up, but like we're in a great spot. Trick Room's over. We waited out correctly. And we're just going to go for big Rock Slide time. The double slides. We could even go with like an Endeavor set. So we could Endeavor here. Make them go down to our HP if we wanted to. After we take a little bit more damage. I think there's nothing wrong with just double Rock Sliding right now. The double pivot. Bro, that Ceruledge about to get dumpstered out here. You can go fast, but like we stab these Rock Slides. Big damage. Big damage. Yep, Ceruledge does not get that. And we get a flinch there because we double Rock Slid. So we're in a great spot. Absolutely amazing spot. You can see the changes the Lycanroc's already adding to this team. They're almost done with their Aurora Veil. So in this case scenario, I think that we probably just want to protect the Lycanroc. Bring in the Amoonguss, take some damage. Next turn, reset for the T-Tar. Win the game. There's a Blizzard block. I want to see what the Arboliva is doing because like we haven't really seen it do anything yet. Terrain Pulse is fine. It's going to be Grassy Terrain Boost. We also just need to wait out the Aurora Veil a little bit. So it doesn't really matter what these guys do. So Aurora Veil's now over. We can just go for close combat into the Abomasnow. And there's, again, nothing that we can really do in this situation. We just go for a quick smug in there. There's no reason to go for Rock Slide at this point. You don't want to miss anymore. You just let them take the KOs that they want. Yep, and you just win with the mons that you want. Good damage there, too. And so you just win with T-Tar now. Should just be able to win with T-Tar. Or Garchomp. Let's go Garchomp. Garchomp's fine. You show Dragon Claw in this situation. Perfect. So that's how the team plays. I wouldn't say that's a normal matchup, but like you can kind of see how you can be a bit more of a bully in this situation. And you can train pulse all you want. Like, this Garchomp's super, super thick. We're going to play one more game because I'd like to play against something just a little bit more standard. So we're going to go into one more. I wasn't going to play against this, but this is the Trick Room matchup that I wanted to show you how to deal with. So I guess I could go into it. Like, their plan is to go, like, spin out with this guy, get slower and slower in Trick Room. So what we're going to do is we're going to let them get Trick Room. We could actually stop Trick Room by just leading Amoonguss and clicking Spore into that. And we could even go Dark Terror if we had to, but I don't think we have to. I think you just lead Corviknight, let them get up Trick Room, bring the Amoonguss in the back. So Corviknight Garchomp's great here because it pins so many of these, while also having the Amoonguss to clean up. And then last but not least, I think Tyranitar's still good in this situation. It's either going to be Tyranitar or Arcanine. I like the T-Tar better versus the Skeleturge, so we're going to try the T-Tar in this situation. But I think this is going to be a good place for us to test this, because it just shows that you don't need to have an Imprisonmon if you have a dedicated Trick Room answer, which is what we're going to be doing here. Mouse is great, Reveroom's great. The cool thing about this board for us is, like, they could Flying Terror there, but, like, I actually think we're completely fine. We don't necessarily even need a Tailwind right now. I think we can just go for... Do we want a Light Screen or a Reflect? Because we're going to Earthquake to kill that thing. Soak some damage here. They're probably U-turning or Flower Gifting. And then they're going to bring out one of these special attackers, because special attacker, special attacker, special attacker. So we want the Light Screen up here and the Reflect and the Earthquake. Protect. That's absolutely fine. There's no reason to Reflect here either, because like Flower Gift just crits through it. There's the Light Screen, Trick Room. This is totally, totally fine. That thing does get Trick Room. There's no problem there at all. The Reflex already, sorry, the Light Screen's already up. This guy gets Reflect. Sorry, this thing, let's see. Do we want to pivot out there? That was a good play from our opponent. They're going to spin out into this thing and probably hit this guy. We can probably just U-turn here, because we do underspeed the Masquerada. And probably just pivot in the Amoonguss. Soak some damage and get ready to go. And then probably bring back out T-Tar on the Corviknight side. Great play from our opponent, though. I liked it a lot. But Light Screen's going to be good. Spin out. You can eat that. And they're going to get slower and slower and slower, and they're Life Warped. Don't get the KO there, but we don't necessarily need it. We can come with T-Tar here. T-Tar's going to be able to underspeed that Masquerada if we have to. Flower Trick there. Does not get the KO. We dummy thick. And so we're going to be able to Spore here and KO that thing. So we don't even need to, like, Assurance. Sorry, we don't even need a Rock Slide. I will just go for the Assurance. I don't want to miss. And we'll go for the Spore into that guy. They could have Overcoat. Actually, we can see if they have Overcoat. Let's see. So it would say... Amoonguss buffed by Sandstorm, Masquerade. So actually, they have Overcoat. Ooh. Ooh, they have Overcoat. I didn't even notice that. Good play then. That means we're actually going to just go with a hard switch to Corviknight and just go for a Spore in the Masquerade slot then. Because we still should underspeed that thing by a lot. You don't want to Spore this guy as Overcoat. Yep. So make him take that chip damage. That guy's asleep. And so now what we're going to want to do is put up a Reflect here. And this is where we would switch out to the Amoonguss. I would say we might be following our T-Tar, but you can see the Trick Room's almost gone. And if our board of Corviknight Garchomp is going to be chilling on the board, there's nothing they can really do. Because eventually the Trick Room's going to go away, and then there's nothing they can really do to stop the Garchomp from rolling him over. So I like this a lot. And this also lets us get Regenerator procs on our Amoonguss. So good play from our opponent and us. Like I like that we didn't fall for the Overcoat. And people always say Filter's such a good ability in Reverie Room. I'm like, no, Overcoat's like so good. Yep, that's absolutely fine. Our T-Tar thicks it out because we're literally dummy thick. Reflex up. Masquerade is ticking out. We're in a good spot here. So they can underspeed both these guys, but we have dual screens up right now. This is the last turn of Trick Room, so we're just going to go for a U-turn in that spot, and you might as well just go for like a Rock Slide, like fade out. Go for the U-turn. There's a Wake Up. Hey, never lucky. That sucks. Huh. So that guy gets ticked out from Rock Slide, and that gets Protect baited. Unlucky. It's okay, though. So now they're going to bring in a secondary Trick Room setter, so we can just go U-turn Assurance into that slot. This guy's way too slow. His Protect's also on cooldown. That guy had Ally Switch and Trick Room. Probably cannot believe the T-Tar just ate that stuff. But you can see the value of these screens. Done sparse. So that's not really the correct amount of speed control. We just go for a U-turn into... I think you U-turn the Reverie Room, and you just go for the Assurance here. You just get the double damage, because its Protect's on cooldown. So free damage there. I think you can go into the Amoonguss and potentially fodder to Boom Burst and then just bring out Garchomp with the game. Oh, it actually just ate that. Sick. That's so good for them. Spin out Cakes at the T-Tar. That should be fine. They take out... That is scary on that Dunsparce. This is fine, though. We just go for 1 Protect here. And we're going to go Terra EQ. Let's see if that Skeleturge Terras. I don't think it will. They have Boom Burst potentially. If they want to use it, they have Glare potential if they want to go to Dunsparce. The Dunsparce is a cool mon. I was very surprised to see the Coil. And is it Grass Terra Skeleturge? Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Good tech. Torch Song gets blocked. Dragon Rush, bro. Dragon Rush Dunsparce. Okay, so let's think about what we need to do here. Remember, we still have this light screen up, so we actually might just be able to soak that. We can pivot in the Corviknight, get a Regenerator proc, and just EQ again. I think there's nothing really wrong with that in case they double up into the Garchomp, which they shouldn't be. This is good damage into the Dunsparce, and hopefully we're not proccing at Citrus. Citrus is a really good play there. Torch Song, we can eat that because we have the screens, and we can actually U-turn in that slot. Hyper Drill, not going to get the KO yet. And this is going to be a very close game, but we should be able to get this. Protect is so smart there. Yep, they went for another Rock Slide. Again, we just have to double up into that slot. And we should be able to get it. They have to go for a double Protect, but we still should be able to take out the Dunsparce. The EQ does too much damage to it. It takes 29% return, so that was a cool Protect, but they went for a Rock Slide instead of going for like just a standard move here. So big damage there. Corviknight should be able to get the KO. Yep. So do you see the changes that we made to the Corviknight? Corviknight won that game almost single-handedly. It set screens. It pivoted correctly. They hit us with like the, you know, Overcoat Reveroom, the Trick Room Ally Switch Masquerada, the weird bulk up Dunsparce, the what is it, the Skeleturge with the throat spray. Like they hit us with like every meme in the book, and we're just like, bro, screens, you lose. Screens, you lose. Like we're absolutely fine. So hopefully you like the changes. Again, they're right here. I think the Amoonguss is definitely a bit of a better set. The Arcanite's completely standard. You can bring in as much as you want. It's a great Pokemon. Totally still works in the team. Corviknight is a lot easier and more fluid to use, and with U-turn, you can actually regain the board control when you need it. Lycanroc gives the team another aggressive option the opponent's forced to respect in the team preview. Garchomp's absolutely amazing. If you wanted to change anything on this Garchomp, you would go 72 here and make this a 52. And the reason why you would do that is because I've made videos featuring the same Garchomp set that's a 164, and it's gotten like a few 100,000 views, so everyone that uses my rental codes uses 164, so you can speed creep those by just a little bit. So I would make this change. It doesn't really matter that much. And the T-Tar just a lot bulkier. You saw how we ate that spin out that had a Life Orb boosted spin out. We just ate it like an absolute champion because we're bulky. So hopefully you like these changes, and you know, good luck making the team. If you decide to use this rental in the future, or you decide to make these changes, I will use this team as a rental and make a video about it. So send it to me and let me know what you think. Thank you guys so much for watching. Peace out, and I'll see you guys next time.